to absolutely our alliance. It's not Russia. Russia has an economy. I mean, it's like one of our medium-sized states in the United States. They don't have
Belarus, Kazakhstan, I mean, a bunch of autocrats. What have they got to say about peace?
For a long time, we all thought the story about Donald Trump wanting to buy Greenland was just a joke, a bad reality TV plot that didn't make it to air. But what happens when the people around him start treating it like a serious military objective? Today, we are looking at a truly mask-off moment for the MAGA movement. A top Trump diplomat, Ambassador Carla Sands, went on British television to defend the indefensible. And folks, this isn't just bad diplomacy, it is a humiliation. You are about to watch her insult a NATO ally by claiming their country is defended by, and I'm not kidding, 2 dog sleds, all while she calls Vladimir Putin brilliant. If you think American foreign policy shouldn't involve threatening our friends over a block of ice, show your support by hitting the like and subscribe buttons, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. Now, let's watch this disaster together, and then I'll give my 2 cents at the end.
Well, joining me now is Carla Sands, who was the US Ambassador to Denmark during President Trump's first term. She is now a key figure in the Trump-supporting America First Policy Institute. Carla Sands, do you know what is going on inside Donald Trump's head when it comes to Greenland?
Well, I certainly don't have a crystal ball to know what goes on in the president's head, but I can imagine that he is working to secure the Arctic, the Western Hemisphere on behalf of the American people and our allies, like those of you in the UK. And I will just say briefly, I really hope that your leadership will do what President Trump is doing for the United States in the UK and make the United Kingdom great again. There's so much opportunity in the UK, but you're struggling in so many ways.
And I guess it's difficult when you're hit with tariffs, but I mean, that's a whole other issue. Isn't what's going on here that Donald Trump's trying to add territory to America? It's empire building, isn't it?
Well, let's just go to tariffs for 1 second. These tariffs are to get a level playing field for American manufacturers and American makers, because Europe and the UK have generally had much higher tariffs on our goods than we had on theirs. So he's actually giving a chance again to American manufacturing to reindustrialize, which we hope the UK will reindustrialize as well. And those
but it could well end up in it could end in an economic war, though, couldn't it?
Of trillions of dollars of new investment coming into the United States and rebuilding our economy after decades of really our middle class suffering, like the UK middle class has been suffering as well.
Okay, but we've got the prospect of a trade war here. We've got the prospect of Donald Trump threatening to invade a NATO ally. I mean, is he detached from reality?
He's well grounded in reality, the reality that our friend Denmark, an original NATO member country, will never be able to defend or develop Greenland. It's like owning a house that's too expensive for you. You can't afford to keep it up. You can't afford to take care of it. And people are breaking in. You have to sell it to someone who can afford it. And that's what's happening here.
Denmark says it's quite able to look after its own backyard, and they should know, and it should be their decision, shouldn't it?
Well, but so I will share with you, they're not being honest with you. When I was the US ambassador, they had about 30 guys in Greenland and 2 dog sleds. And this is the world's largest island, 1/3 the size of the continental US, with not enough knowledge of what's above, on, and below the seas, the giant seas. This is the GI-UK gap. Greenland, Iceland, and the Faroe Islands are really near your Shetland Islands. And Denmark has not a chance. They just don't have the resources. You have to understand, they're not capable of taking care of this asset. They're not capable of developing it on behalf of the Greenlandic people, which have told me to my face, if the US doesn't invest in us, we'll go to China. Money has no color. So they don't have the wisdom to understand what is a safe investment and what is an unsafe investment.
You said you didn't have a crystal ball to know what's going on inside the president's head, which is understandable. But we get a sort of sense, don't we, from this letter he sent to, or text to, the Norwegian Prime Minister, suggesting he's threatening war because he didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, it's the kind of thing a toddler would say, isn't it?
Well, that's what I think when I see these onesies, twosies, these soldiers that go to Greenland to give the middle finger to President Trump from our NATO allies, countries that send 1 soldier or 5 soldiers. What are they thinking? Why wouldn't they say, how can we work with you, President Trump? And as for the Prime Minister of Denmark, she never picked up the phone and called the president for a whole year. And instead, she went behind his back to try to get help from, heads of state who still aren't capable of defending their own territories.
Donald Trump wanted the Peace Prize. He's clearly very put out that he hasn't got it. So why on earth does he then invite one of the biggest warmongers of this century, President Putin, onto his so-called board of peace? It's madness, isn't it?
Well, I think it's kind of brilliant. I like the idea of bringing together a team. Once you have someone like a Vladimir Putin in the room, he's going to be working with allies instead of hugging up to China. China is an existential threat to absolutely our alliance. It's not Russia. Russia has an economy. I mean, it's like one of our medium-sized states in the United States. They don't have
Belarus, Kazakhstan, a bunch of autocrats. What have they got to say about peace?
Well, Kazakhstan is coming to the West rather than turning to the East, rather than turning to the Chinese Communist Party. We're now doing energy deals with Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is going to help to supply Europe with energy, not Russia. That's a win. But if you look at what President Trump is trying to achieve in the Western Hemisphere, what he did, the magnificent outcome in Venezuela, and that blocks China from getting, they were getting 65 to 80% of the Venezuelan oil. What he's doing with Iran is supplying most of the Iranian oil goes at a discount to China.
Right.
So this is geopolitical stuff. And we need our allies in NATO to come alongside and say, how can we work with you, President Trump? We are with you. We understand you are trying to get us in a more safe situation, both the United States and our European allies.
Carla Sands, thank you very much for joining me.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Now, the Business Secretary has told this programme that the government will commit taxpayer cash to help British...
So, let's just recap what we just witnessed. We have a representative of the United States who goes on international television, insults our oldest allies in the UK and Denmark, claims a sovereign nation is defended by dog sleds, but then turns around and calls Vladimir Putin, a dictator currently invading Europe, brilliant. This interview wasn't just embarrassing, it was a warning signal. It shows us exactly how the MAGA worldview operates. They view our friends as weak tenants they can evict, and our enemies as strong leaders they want to emulate. So, what do you think? Is this what they call 4D chess? Or is this just dangerous, arrogant incompetence? What was the most shocking part for you? The dog sled insult or the Putin praise? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for more. Thanks for watching.